Shalom, 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 beloved angelic family and Gentiles. Today we're going to be looking at rays 3 and 7, the magic combination. Let's get it. Copyright disclaimer. Under Section 107 of the Copyright Act of 1976, fair use is invoked for purposes such as criticism, comment, news reporting, teaching, scholarship, and research. Fair use is permitted by copyright statute when an otherwise infringement may occur. Usages for nonprofit educational purposes tips the balance in favor of fair use. We're going to review Ray 3. We already kind of went over Ray 3. And, I've read, a lot of books, gone through a lot of books and information about the rays. And I really like, kind of lean more to Alice Bailey based on what she has to say, because she kind of is the one that started researching the rays and has in-depth knowledge regarding the rays. And I like the fact that with ray 3, she kind of sticks to it as the ray of aspect, the ray of active intelligence, which is really what it is. I mean, you have the red, the blue, and then the third ray was yellow, but now it's white. And this has a lot to do with what's going on the earth now and the dove returning. So, ray 3 is the ray of active intelligence, and it is the expression of the third person of the Trinity, the Holy Ruach. So, we know that this is based on the Holy Ruach. And one thing I like about Alice Bailey is because even though she wrote about the third ray, she didn't really go in depth like some people did, and write books, and pinpointing people who had the third ray, because really all of the rays are spiritual and they have spiritual aspects. But it's like what happened with astrology. They took astrology and made it more um, personal than it was in the past. It had to do more with spirituality. So she kind of stays with the spiritual portion of it, whereas other people go into all of this property and materialistic stuff and leaders and all this type of stuff. So here she really recognized that the ray 3 was of the Holy Ruach. And on cosmic levels, it is the inherent intelligence in matter. The Lord of ray 3, and we're going to talk about the Lords too, because it's something that thought discussed as well, is responsible for the actual working out of the plan and bringing into um, objectivity, divine creation of the entire visible worlds, using the mind and all means needed to materialize a divine idea. So each one of the rays has its own Lord that um, works with, the divine mother, the divine father, and the children um, of the rays of the light. Okay. According to DK, and I don't want to butcher this guy's name, but I know I am. DeWall Cole, it's DJWHAL. Last name is Cool, KUKHUL. And he received his information from Alice Bailey. The third ray activity of impregnating matter with intelligence was dominant in our solar system during the first manifestation of our solar logos. He is now in his second phase of manifestation on the second major ray of love, wisdom, and in his next manifestation, the first ray of willpower will be dominant. So, although they have given, masculine identities to everything, we know that the Ruach has a feminine identity, and in this male-dominated system, if you can notice in all of the books, that everything is dominated by Caucasian males, who really had no knowledge, but they regurgitated knowledge that was taken from the past and turned it into their own, which is the reason now they have these laws about plagiarism because everything that they've done, they plagiarized. So they want to protect the plagiarism with laws to prevent plagiarism. How does that work? So now let's look at ray 7, the ray of ceremonial magic and order. And I love, that this is the place where, I'm supposed to be and what, was given to me because when everything was coming out and people, were going off about, the magic and all of this, I kind of sat back and I didn't say anything because at the time I didn't have this knowledge. And, coming up in Christianity, I wasn't even doing anything. And I was, in 10th, 11th grade in the church I went to, they were already calling me a demon and all these things. So for me, hearing what people were saying, I knew that it was coming from this Christianity mentality. And so I didn't say anything because I had already gone down that road and I was a teenager and all I was doing was going to school. And they told me I was demon possessed and everything, because I was having dreams and visions. And so it's good to sit back and just watch and listen, watch people's actions and listen to what they have to say because sometimes things come from people that you just wouldn't expect it to come from. And so I'm truly grateful, for the beloved brother, Big Levi, because he really helped me, when I was going through all of this, at the beginning before I even started this journey really good. So when I started studying and I came through the rays, and this is where I was led, it was funny that the seventh ray, the ray that's on the earth now, is this ceremonial magic, the ray of ceremonial magic and order, because it's coming directly from the Ruach. This didn't just happen because you got to think about it. In the past, our sun was yellow and it changed. Currently, many people are seeing the sun, as white, and many people remember when the sun was yellow. So we know that based on that fact alone, that there has been a change. Something has changed because now the sun is no more that dim yellow look. It's white, and it's white all the time, and those rays are being emitted through the sun, which is how you kind of, some people see the colors, the rays, and some people the different hues, and some people, just don't. So let's get back to that. So, the ray of ceremony, magic, and order embodies the quality or principle that coordinates and unifies the inner quality and the outer tangible form or appearance. This is its true magical work through law and order. This Lord of law and order, whose powerful energy is now coming in and making its pressure felt, has a peculiar power on our physical plane, for there is a close numerical interrelation between the seventh ray and the seventh plane, which is a physical, just as the seventh root race will see complete conformity to and a perfect expression of law and order. We are now in the fifth root race approaching the sixth, and the seventh we shall see the fruition of our efforts of today. Yeah, they're going to see a lot of fruition, but their efforts have not been the efforts that were supposed to be put forth. Their efforts have been in complete wickedness. As a reflection of the first ray of will and power, the power of the seventh ray is inherent in physical matter. We need only to think of the power stored in the very atom in mountains, volcanoes, hurricanes, and earthquakes. However, according to DK, these forces of nature can and will ultimately be geared toward a higher purpose and used constructively and harmlessly. That's not what we're seeing, is it? We're seeing quite the opposite. Things are happening to sweep the wickedness off the earth, and the mighty one is doing things his way, and he's using the things that he's put here on earth in order to make things happen. And the ruach in the meantime is doing her job with her children, with the children of light. So everything works together for the good. And these atoms, and the particles and the rays that are on the earth, they're going to continue doing their job. DK says, or this author in The Seven Rays Made Visual, he says the first powerful effects of the seventh ray energies are changes along the line of destroying crystallized forms in order to release the true values hidden in the forms, which are law and order and peaceful coexistence. And that is not true. In fact, that is the opposite, because what's happening now is the children of light, the crystals within the bodies are being ignited again. Now, this may have happened early on, when the first shifting of the poles, and I'm not talking about these poles on the earth or anything like what these people are talking about. I'm talking about the shifts of the poles in the body, because there's polarity in everything. There's polarity in the earth. The earth went from a positive to a negative, and now it's going back to a positive because it's sweeping all the wickedness off the earth. Our bodies went from us being trapped in this physical to now the polarity is coming to fruition, and we're going to be able to leave these physical bodies again. So everything that they were thinking, this author was thinking when this book was written in 1986, is completely different because there's a switching of the polarities. So now this information came from the book of Esoteric Psychology. So this book has several names for the Ray Lord of the seventh ray. And the work of the future can be seen from a study of these names. So the unveiled magician, the worker in the magical art, the creator of the form, the bestower of light from the second Lord, the manipulator of the wand, the keeper of the magical word. So all of this, the whirling sphere, the divine alchemical worker, the builder of the square, the orienting force, the expression of the will, the key of the mystery. So there are several names, other than just the magician, since it's the ray of ceremonial magic and order. Now check this out. So it says this Ray Lord has a peculiar power on earth and on the physical plane of divine manifestation. His usefulness to his six brothers is therefore apparent. He makes their work appear. He is the most active of all the rays in this world, period, and is never out of manifestation for more than 1,500 years. I don't know how the Gentiles know that, but of course they have books that we have not seen yet. It is almost as if he whirled in and out of active work until a very rapid cycle, and his closest relation symbolically is to his brethren of the second and fifth rays in this world period. So the second ray is with the children of light. And then the fifth ray is regarding concrete knowledge. So that would make sense regarding this fifth ray, because you have your knowledge, and then the ceremony or magical order um, builds on the knowledge that you already have. You didn't The people that are at the seventh ray are those who did not stop once they received concrete knowledge about something, and then they felt like, we have everything. These are the people that continue to move forward to increase their knowledge because they wanted um, to know more. So I can see how those rays would work together. The second ray working with the love and wisdom of the children of light or the star seeds, and then the concrete knowledge on the mental plane. This is what you already know. And then move into the physical plane, ceremonial order. When you're taking the new knowledge and you're actually putting it to work. You're putting your hands on it. Okay. So the author says that he builds using second-rate cooperation. Realize, I said that they're always using the male as a focal point here through the power of thought, thus cooperating with the Lord of the fifth ray and on the physical plane, which is his own essential and peculiar sphere. In another world period, his relationship with the other Ray Lords may undergo change, but at this time, his work will be more easily understood when he is recognized as aiding the building Lord of the second ray and utilizing the energies of the Lord of the concrete thought. Now, one thing we have to remember when reading anything about Gentiles don't know anything about the spiritual realm. Everything that they talk about is focused on the physical realm, the materialistic part of it. They call themselves lords, and all these titles, and they, changed. They created their God in the Bible, so that's who they talk about. So when we, as star seeds and children of the light, when we focus in on what the Gentiles say, we have to remember that everything that they've ever put out there has been on a non spiritual plane. They don't know anything about spirituality, which is the reason that they created religions. Okay. We didn't have religions. Everything that we did was on the spiritual plane. So when you're talking about religion, you have to know that religion comes from the physical, from the earthly, from it's manifested through the churches. This is what the Vatican and all those guys, they're popes and priests and pimps and whatever that they brought, and they gave our people. They gave us religion. Once we transcend from that thought process, and then move into the spiritual realm, things start making more sense and there's clarity with being able to divide the word of truth. Because nothing that the Gentiles have and Psalm 383 nations have ever done has had anything to do with spirituality, with the spirit of the Ruach, because she wasn't here and hasn't been here for them. So everything that they've done is on a materialistic and is about their greed, their lust and all this, which is the reason, that they push all of these things. All of this wickedness is because this is what they're grounded in. This is where they are. This is earth, given into the hands of the wicked. So this is what they do. So none of us should ever be surprised at anything, that they push forward, because this is how they rock and roll. This is what they do. Okay. And so when it comes to them, the Gentiles and the Psalms 83 nations, we have to remember we all we all have spirits. Go back to the book of remembrance, Enoch. We all have spirits in us, the spirit that gave us life and the spirit of the Father. Okay? They all have that. All of those who were not cloned, okay, and were not artificially AI inseminated, we have those spirits from the Father because that's where we came from, and the spirit that's already in us. But then when you don't get to the Son, you don't get the Ruach. So they never got there. They were grounded in wickedness. They've stayed in that wickedness. And so they can only speak from a physical plane, a materialistic plane, because that's what they're grounded in. That's what they know. Okay. So I didn't print anything from the soul cycles of the seven rays, this book, but I'm going to talk a little bit about it and talk about the seventh ray, the ceremonial ray. So they're saying that the non-sacred planet or the sacred planet is Uranus. The color is violet, and it has affects the sacral chakra or spear. Okay, it's a spear, but Gentiles, Psalms 83 nations, they came up with this chakra, but it's really a spear because when you think about it, this it's energy, it's a force that's in the body, and it whirls around in a spirit, and it all of these colors are um, transmuted to the body. Okay, so that come from the rays that come from the planets and from the galactic sun. Okay, this is what happens. So it really whirls around. So it's a sphere. Okay, and then let's talk about some of the virtues of um, of this seventh ray. It has strength, perseverance, courage, courtesy, extreme care for details, and self-reliance. And the vices: formalism, bigotry, pride, narrowness, opinionated, superficial, and judgmental. And so some of the glamours, or the issues about this ray, what happens with it is magical work, relation of the opposites. They're your polarities again. Then subterranean powers, okay, that which brings things together, the physical body, you know, because you're dealing with, when you're talking about magic, you're talking about energy. When you're talking about energy, you're talking about a force. When you're talking about the force, you're talking about the rays. You're talking about the rays. You're talking about the spheres or the chakras. All of this deals with magic, what Gentiles call magic. And the reason that they gave it a name, magic, is because they weren't able to use this energy, this force, not the way that it was supposed to be used. They were able to use low level magic, and that's what our people don't have clarity about. There's different types of magic or things that can be done with energies or forces, because what magic is, what they're calling magic, deals with energy and forces. Okay, and so everything has a vibration or frequency. So every rock, every tree, every blade of grass, the dirt, everything has a force or frequency. The body, the blood in the body has a force or frequency. When you injure yourself, that injury that you sustain, that causes a force or vibration. When you're happy, that's another type of force or vibration. All of these, this is all what they call magic. Okay, and because Christianity has put this emphasis on it, that it was evil and wicked, our people can't wrap their minds around the truth. Okay, so when they sex magic is another part of this. They've been using a lot of sex magic, when we were born. They took our footprint and put it on the birth certificate. They took that piece of paper. Men were circumcised. They took that foreskin. They clipped the hair. They took that hair. So all of these things they've used, and they've been using it against us all of these years in this low frequency magic or energy that they've been conjuring up. This is what the fallen has allowed them to do. Because when you fall, you have low energy spirit. You don't generate the same type of force or energy. And people just can't see. I don't know why this is so difficult, but I guess because, when you're stuck looking at something, you're stuck into Christianity. People keep saying Christianity is a powerful drug. It's the hardest drug out there, and it really is, because it keeps you in ignorance and darkness. This is darkness, is ignorance, because you can't see the light. You can't come to the light. Carrie Ann, don't go to the light, okay? Because you can't see through the darkness. You can't see the truth. So you remain in ignorance. And this is what Christianity and religion has done. And when our people continue out there talking about they're preaching this buffoonery that given to by the Gentiles, is because they remained in darkness and ignorance. In our solar system, the energies of the seventh ray are transmitted by way of Aries, Cancer, and Capricorn, reaching our Earth primarily through the sacred planet Uranus. Okay, so it's going through the transmission, the transmuting, the transfiguring, you know, and then it comes to Earth. So it goes through that cycle that we talked about before, because when those energies come, the force or the energies from the rays come. And see, this is again, when you're talking about forces and energies, and you're talking about these rays, okay, again, you're talking again about magic, okay? So people are going to see this as magic, but this is the way it works. You can't get away from this whole process. It said of this triangle of zodiacal signs, Capricorn is today the controlling factor, as the Capricornian energy produces the overcoming of materialism and leads to the mountaintop to initiation. This Ray Lord builds through the power of thought. And so are we at lower levels building a new civilization through our thinking and objectifying our ideas in outer manifestation. Now, again, this is what I'm saying. The Gentiles throw themselves in that is our this and our that, but this has nothing to do with them. It has absolutely nothing to do with them, because this ray, the way that it's going to work is based on who you are, what you've done, what your frequency is. Okay? If you're at a low vibration, this is not going to serve you well. These rays do not work. There's not a good outcome when the ray energy or force hits you and you are at a low frequency. Because as the frequency on the planet rises, if your body isn't rising with the frequency, when this ray energy or ray force hits your body, you're going to be one of those statistics that are falling out. Telling you, this has a lot to do. People keep talking about, this injection that they took did this and blah, blah, blah. This has nothing to do with the injection. This is about the forces and the energies that are on this earth, that are on Kai right now. If you're vibrating at a low frequency and you're not at the frequency of the earth, when the force and these energies hit your body, you are not going to do well. Then that's the truth. And this is all innocent. It's telling you that these people thinking that, they're seeing, they know exactly what's going on. because they're talking about it here, and they're talking about Capricorn is a day of the controlling factor and all this, so they know what's in the stars, they know what's in the sky, but they've deluded themselves into believing that there's going to be a positive outcome for them when these rays hit, and it's not now that we're going to turn around. We've been wicked all this time, and now we're going to start thinking positive thoughts, and we're going to be different people. No, it doesn't work that way. What is in you is in you. The lines have been drawn, the decisions, it's karma. It's all coming back now. You don't just, I don't know why these people think, that they do all this wickedness and then all of a sudden, that the planet is changing, that they can walk away and turn around and think that, that now, all of this positive vibe is going to hit them. It doesn't work that way. I saw something a while ago about Jim Carrey, and he was talking about how he was screwed. And he started opening his mouth and doing all this, sticking his tongue out, doing these pyramidal signs and all this. I don't know, some of you probably saw that, but it was on one of the rare occasions, I was looking, I decided to watch something that he said on one of those videos, and he knew that he was doomed. He knew that Hollywood was doomed because of the things that they had done. So they know this. I don't care what they portray and what they tell people, and they got the masses out there food thinking that everything is la gag and la da, and we're gonna do this. I don't know, hallelujah moment, and we're gonna sing kumbaya. No, it doesn't work that way. The mighty one put things in place, to solve all the problems, which is a reason we don't have to do a thing. And this is how I know Gentiles in Psalms 83 nations know exactly what's going on. The true cosmic rays are spiritual forces emanating from the divine white light. There you go. There you go, right there. The true cosmic rays are spiritual forces emanating from the divine white light. The rays are perpetually vibrating not only on the surface of the earth, but also above and through it, encircling the globe in streams of endless, inexhaustible energy. Magic. As in the microcosm, so also in the microcosm. The same rays and forces surround and permeate every human being, flowing down the negative left side of the body and up the positive side, for man is a miniature world. You understand that? This is what they put in their books. The true cosmic rays are spiritual forces emanating from the divine white light. And that white light comes from the Ruach. This is the reason that the sun went from yellow to white. Because when that white light hits that crystal, the whole body is in light. That's where that prism effect comes from, that rainbow effect comes from, and you can see all of those lights. That's why when some of us are sitting around in our homes, we can see these lights, these rainbows in our house. When that white light hits that prism, you can see those lights. And the Gentiles have known this all along. They know it's not about them. They know the true cosmic rays are spiritual forces. Magic, what they call magic. So listen what they have to say in the Seven Rays of Life, in the book, The Seven Rays of Life. Spiritualism was the religion of old Atlantis, and the seventh ray dominated that ancient civilization for a very long period of time, particularly during the first half of its existence. just as a fifth ray is of such dominant potency in our Aryan age and race. It is through the correct development of spiritualism along psychological lines and the withdrawal of its emphasis upon phenomena, which is its outstanding characteristic and emphasis today, that the true nature of death and of the hereafter will be revealed. Stuff they've known all along, they've hidden, they've lied about, and made death this final thing, put people in fear, but it is in connection with spiritualism that I can best illustrate the lower expression of the incoming seventh ray influences. Lower expression. The work of the seventh ray is, as you know, the relating of life and form. But when the emphasis is laid upon the form aspect, then the wrong procedure eventuate, eventuates and the work of the black magician can begin. Ooh, wee! Who is he calling the black magicians? And his objectives come unduly into play. Speechless, speechless. This is what has happened in the spiritualistic movements. Its investigators are occupied with the form side of life and its adherents with the satisfaction of their emotional desires, again related to the form side, so that the true import of the movement is in danger of being lost. Gentiles and those Psalm 83 nations, man, they have a way of just putting things out there. This came from a book called The Destiny of the Nations, but it's in this book, Seven Rays of Life. I have that book, and I'm going to read some information out of there about all the nations and what they said of the destinies. But you see this, the black magicians, right? Who are they talking about? I'm not going to add anything to that. I'm going to let you guys think that through on your own. Now, I thought this was pretty funny. This got a little chuckle out of me after, realizing, that these people, they everything is a game for them. Everything is about this mind control, the deceptiveness, and there is no way for them to change it because this is built into their system. This is who they are because of who their father is. But check this out. The incoming seventh ray. The seventh ray has sometimes been called a peculiar name by knowers. It is regarded as a ray of ritualistic decency. Okay. It aids and inaugurates the appearing of a new world order. There's your new world order right there. And they've known this. I mean, it's not like they didn't know it and this is popping out. They have known about this new world order, not their world order that they had into play, but they've known about this. It said based on a spiritual drive and on aspiration to mental freedom, loving understanding, and a physical plane rhythm which provides opportunity for full creative expression. How about that? This ritualistic decency ray is based on a spiritual drive and on aspiration, mental freedom, because our people have been mentally destroyed, many of them. Loving, understanding, and a physical plane rhythm which provides opportunity for full creative expression. Don't you love those Gentiles in Psalms 83 nations? They can romanticize anything for their benefit. To bring this about, energy from Shambhala, embodying the will to good, is fused and blended with the organizing energy of the seventh ray and then carried to humanity along the stream of love which emanates from the hierarchy itself. There you go. You know, for people who have spent themselves destroying melanated carbon beings, they can speak about love. Their type of love is scary. Their type of love is bent on love, on destruction, and hate. I don't want it. I don't want anything to do with it. These people don't know anything about, I don't know. I don't know whose word love is. I didn't even check the etymology of love, but I do know that what they think is love and what, you know, is carbon-based beings believe is love are two completely different, on two different playing fields. They don't match up at all. They just don't match up. That energy, the polarity of their energy and our energy, it doesn't fit. There's a polarity there, and with most of them, it just doesn't work. It just doesn't, because there's love on one side and there's hate. There's a positivity of love, and then there's a negativity of hate and destruction. And I don't even have to tell you who's the positive and negative. We're not going to go there. In this next book, The Power of the Rays, The Science of Color Healing, I found some interesting information. And the thing about it is, they've known, the Gentile Psalms 83 nations have known about these rays, the powers of the rays, and they've created these artificial um, items or mechanisms to try to heal using the colors from those rays. They've been trying to harness the energy from the rays. Okay, so let's get into this book a little bit. In studying color, we are studying a force of immeasurable and infinite power. Let me do that one again, because this is your magic here. In studying color, we are studying a force of immeasurable and infinite power. The ancient Egyptians were conscious of the power and influence of color, and in their great temples, certain parts of the buildings were set aside as color halls. I didn't know that. I didn't know that until reading this book. I knew about the temples. I knew about different things in the temples and the measure that they were measuring and all these, but I didn't know this, where the effects of color vibrations were minutely studied and applied. The Egyptian priests, the inheritors and keepers of the esoteric wisdom of vanished epoch, left manuscripts showing their system of color science, which even today strike us as a very excellent one. Really? What? Come on now. The Egyptian priests, the inheritors and keepers of the esoteric wisdom of a vanished epoch, left manuscripts showing their system of color science, which even today strike us as a very excellent one. They applied the law of correspondence, as above, so below, as below, so above, color correspondence. That's the law of correspondence, the Hermetic, one of the principles of the Hermetic principles, okay? Between the sevenfold nature of man and the sevenfold division of the solar system, the microcosm and the macrocosm. Thus, the temple masters taught thousands of years ago that the primary colors, red, yellow, and blue, correspond to the body, soul, mind, and the spirit of man. And remember, the sun was yellow before, and it did, but now it is white, the ruach. This is a good classification of colors that has never been discarded, although it has been enlarged upon. Although expressed in different ways and sometimes under a variety of symbols, the occultist, that word can really be scary, if you don't know what it means, okay, hidden of the past had broadly the same basis of color science as we use today. The science of color rests on the laws of light as manifested in the seven major rays. So in the Bible, when they're talking about let there be light, and that this person was light, and we lead walk in the path of truth and light, they're talking about the rays, about, because this is really what's going on with the light. These rays, these cosmic rays, okay, they have nothing to do with this, and they cannot change these. They have been trying to block those rays from coming because they know what they're supposed to do. And it was beamed to me about a year ago that they were trying to block the rays because they were trying to block the color codes. And that's what they've been trying to do, but they can't stop it. The color rays are intrinsically related to the seven planes of manifestation and also to the seven major granular centers in the human body called the chakras, a Hindu term meaning wheels of light, the spirals, the spears of light. Just as there is an esoteric inner and exoteric outer meaning to all cosmic phenomena, so is there an esoteric meaning to the outward and visible rays of light comprising this spectrum. They're actually the spectrum of light. Ordinarily speaking, the sun radiates white light waves capable of being resolved into seven main constituent parts of different wavelengths. From the esoteric aspect, the white light, spiritual sun, when our ancestors were out raising up their hands to the sun, they weren't worshiping the sun. They knew what it meant. Everything was perverted to make it seem like it was something wicked and evil to keep us from getting the light, to getting close to the Father, the divine, the Ruach, having clarity regarding the Hamashiach and what his mission was here on earth. It wasn't to worship him. It wasn't saying that what they said, you can't get to the Father unless you come through the Son, the S-O-N. Ugh. Gentiles. From the esoteric aspect, the white light, spiritual sun enters the consciousness of the soul through the aura and is diffused into its seven component colors, each one infusing the appropriate soul center with power and vitality. This is what they've been keeping us from. This is why they've given us all the lies and the garbage, and they flipped the script in that Bible. This is what they did. Each major color has seven intrinsic elements: a physical or material element, a vitality giving power life force, a psychological element, a harmonizing unifying element, a specific healing element, an element of inspiration and intuition, a spiritual or higher consciousness element. Each major color has seven intrinsic elements. This is what happens when you continue on and you say you're awakened and you continue following in Gentile and Psalms 83 buffoonery. You get lost in the sauce because they told you that magic was wicked. When magic is energy. Every one of us have ley lines flowing through our bodies. We have those spirals, those spears in our bodies. So you're believing in this magic buffoonery. And so what? You're shutting down your body because you're believing what the Gentiles and Psalms 83 nations have told you? You're shutting off the own power, the energy force in your body because you believe that mixing some herbs and taking bath with ivory soap is it's magic, it's evil, it's wicked. Really? It's because you don't know your own body. You don't know anything about yourself because you've allowed the Gentiles, the Psalms 83 nations, to manipulate and run the show. And our people are still feeding our people that garbage, regurgitating the same crap that they gave us when they got that mind control garbage and put it in us. The same garbage. Because you can't see the light. You can't accept the truth. You can't. In the ordinary sense, the seven major rays are known as red, orange, yellow, green, blue, indigo, and violet. These colors should be visualized mentally daily until they can be sensed in the mind. See, Gentiles knew all this stuff, but you're stuck preaching. Okay, stay with that. So I try to read the Emerald Tablets of Thought, Atlantean, just about every day, just to try to read something out of it or just listen to it. Some days I don't get to it, but just about every day I try to read something out of it. But today I'm going to leave you guys with a little prayer that's in the book. Pray ye this prayer for attaining of wisdom. Pray for the coming of light to the all. Mighty spirit of light that shines through the cosmos, draw my flame closer in harmony to thee. Lift up my fire from out of the darkness, magnet of fire that is one with the all. Lift up my soul, thou mighty and potent, child of the light, turn not away. Draw me in power to melt in the furnace, in thy furnace, one with all things and all things in one. Fire of the life strain and one with the brain. Shalom, 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 beloved angelics. All praises to the mighty one who created heaven and earth. Great, great love for the Divine Mother and love for the Hamashiach for his sacrifice. Shalom, 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 Gentiles.